What's love got to do with it? What's love but a sweet old-fashioned notion? What's love got to do with it? Who needs a heart when a heart can be broken? Love to do with it. I would like to be actually jumping into the class and horrifying you with my poor, sad rendition of Tina Turner's unbelievably famous song. But you'll just have to do with that horrible video moment. Hi guys, today we're going to talk about 7 dimensions of love. And the reason we're going to do this is a great way for us to introduce some very important and very basic methods of literary analysis. This is a literature class, and the writing that we're going to be doing is going to be looking at specific pieces of writing and thinking about how we can think about them. How can we draw meaning out of representations that are complex, that are layered, and that are refined. That's what literary analysis is. Analysis means to break apart and to look at the individual parts and how they function. To do that, we're going to use specific technical terminology, labels that we use for literature. Now, you know a lot of this. You've read The Great Gatsby in high school, and you may know words like plot or character. Some of the technical terms are very familiar and very basic, but we have other ones. We have simply the word text, which is this great generic word for a reading. The words, any kind of literary representation can be called a text, so I use that all the time. What else did I want to say about literary terms? Well, so they're specific. They're technical terms of the trade. And while you may not become a literature professor, and you may not even take another literature class, the reason that they're useful for us is because they give us practice at learning new terms and learning terms that have precise meanings and that we can use to point at things. One of the words we're going to use today is song lyric, the words for a song. And the word lyric is also the name for a genre of poetry. Lyric poems are small, short poems. They often are personal. They're often between one or two people. And so song lyrics have taken that word, lyric poetry, to talk about the words that we use to accompany this or that other tune. There's another genre of poetry we'll be looking at later called epic poetry. Epic is the technical term for long poems that often talk about history and morality and entire cultures. So there's 2 technical terms that I want you to know, lyric poetry and epic poetry. And you've learned them right here in this video. Lyric, by the way, the word lyric comes from the word lyre. Lyre is an old Greek harp. Pling, pling, pling. The rhapsodes, they were called, the singers of poetry, was called a rhapsode. And they were pretty young boys, usually with great voices, and they would come out and they go, pling, my king is the best king of all times, pling, pling, he's the most virtuous of all things. So that's where we get the word lyric, the words that go with the lyre player songs. Of course, no one plays lyres anymore. We don't look at these funny little harps, but we have this vestige. We have this remnant. We have this leftover in our language of language that goes long before. So you're going to be looking at your own song lyrics. Your job this week is to think about all the love songs that you know, to pick 3 that you like. And then what I want you to do is I want you to print out the lyrics from those 3 songs, or at least read through the lyrics of those 3 songs. After you've looked at 3, I want you to pick 1, the song whose lyrics are the most interesting, exciting, meaningful to you. And that one, I want you to print out. If you can't print, I want you to take out a piece of paper and I want you to copy word for word so that you have a hard text of the song lyrics. You'll notice some parts of that song lyric. You'll notice verses that are each individual. You'll notice a refrain, sometimes called a chorus, that repeats 1 or 2, 3 times. When we write out lyrics, when we write out song lyrics, the little paragraphs are called stanzas. Stanza is a fancy word for a paragraph in a poem. You may or may not know that. Again, now we have all these terms: text, lyric, stanza, epic, and lyric. So you're accumulating these useful labels for talking about language. And we'll be doing this all semester. So I want you to listen to the videos. It's really good to take notes with these videos. Just have a piece of paper so you can jot down lyric, epic, rhapsode if you want. So that you're collecting, you're becoming aware, you're drawing out of this quick sound stream words and terms that could be useful for you. When you're writing, they'll be so nice to have these little pointer words, these little technical words that will help you more clearly express your ideas. Now, as you look at your lyrics, I've given you some great examples. Tina Turner's "What's Love Got to Do With It" is one. That's one of my favorite from back in the day. I posted a great song. So everyone asks what's my favorite love song. And one of my favorites, they change, and I have hundreds of them, and I will sing them at you. But Sarah Bareilles, I think is her name, is this beautiful voice. And she has a great song called "Gravity," which I love for all kinds of reasons. I put a link to the video. I want you to listen to it because it's just great music and it will make your heart sing. But also it's really interesting in terms of lyrics. So it's another great example. You can look at those lyrics and you will see in her song, in the Tina Turner song, and in the own lyrics of your own songs, you're going to see these patterns emerge. Patterns that show up in love song lyrics. But interestingly enough, they show up in lyrics of almost all, they show up in the writing of all the literature that we're going to read. And I'm going to call these dimensions of love. And I want you to be very aware of them. I want you to be looking for them. I want you to be understanding them. This will really be one of the focuses of our whole time together. And we'll come back to these 7 terms every time we look at a new text. So quickly, I think you can see on the board, you can see here's the 7. And some of them are easy to understand and some of them are trickier. So in love literature, we often hear language of nature. We hear, ain't no mountain high enough, ain't no valley low enough. A rainy day in London town. Rain, water, sunlight. Dave Matthews, crash into me, baby. He's using the language of waves. So anytime you find nature imagery, bing, 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 bing. Notice it, circle it, write it down. You'll see how very, very rich the nature imagery is I think, in every text that we look at. Another dimension that shows up in literature are things that are intense. Nobody sort of feels love. It's always, you are the world to me. You are the sunshine of my life. It's always the highest mountain and the lowest valley. It's never anything in between. So you're going to be listening for and looking for words that are intensifiers, words that exaggerate. And we have another great word called hyperbole. Hyperbole is a fancy word for an exaggeration. It's not, he's not my lover. He's the most wonderful man of my life. That's an exaggeration example of hyperbole. It's a great Greek word. We have instances of morality in the literature. Something is good or something is bad. Right and wrong. Blessing and evil. So a lot of moral distinction, moral judgment. I love this song. If loving you is wrong, I don't want to be right. So that's a great, a great Motown song about she's sleeping with a married man, but she's so in love with him, she doesn't care. She doesn't care about the immorality of violating that man's marital vows, because I guess it must be really good loving, whatever loving means to her. nature, intensity, morality. Discernment. And discernment is a fancy word that means, is this the right one? Is this true love? Is this the woman for me, the man for me? So anytime there's issues of choosing, of deciding, those are issues of discernment. The disappointment when someone was false or fake or untrue. That's a real theme of discernment. Issues of identity come up. You complete me. You help me know who I really am. You understand the true me. I know my true me through you. So we have issues of identity. We have issues of time. Our love is here to stay forever and a day. It's going to go forever. Oh, I knew it was you in a second. So anytime you hear references to time or forever or the past or I can't forget you, I will never forget you, those are themes, those are dimensions, themes tied to this dimension. And then the last one I want you to think about is representation. And that's the challenge, that somehow these feelings and this experience is so big, so special, that we can't put it into words. It's impossible to represent, and so I'm going to try. I can't tell you how much I love you, so I'll put it into a song, which has words that are telling you how much I love you. So it's this weird, twisted, challenging representation. How do we bring into representation, into language, into the world, expression of this feeling that is so important? The feeling when you see your newborn child for the first time, when you realize this is the one for you, when your just heart breaks at the passing of a beloved. Those are such huge human experiences. How do we put them into words? So your job is delineated, it's expanded and expounded in the assignment. You're going to choose a love lyric, you're going to find a quotation, and then you're going to get to write your first lit journal where you try to identify key terms and hot spot words, where you try to discuss how those work, and where you write how that connects to the dimensions or to your life. And lastly, I'm going to ask you in your lit journals to find an image, some kind of visual that represents the lyric, the quote that you've done. You'll see those instructions more expanded in the assignment section of your Blackboard. And I threw an example of you. I wrote a quick little example lit journal about Tina Turner's What's Love Got to Do With It. It's a little bit longer, I have to say, than what I'm expecting of you. Your lit journals need to be about 250. Aim for a page or two of writing, 250 to 500 words in your lit journals, and make them strong. This is where you really practice the work of this class. We're going to have lit journals every week. You'll get better and better and better at them, but they take time and focus and reading and attention. So give yourself an hour or two to do this important work to get it up to college level. And I'll be giving you feedback on those, and you'll be getting better and better. When you're doing your lit journal well and responsibly and every week, you're really building parts of your papers. So it's a great work. It's really the training part of the class. See you next time.